All right, Tuesday it is. So, couple requests, and I get to those in a second. Let's go through a couple things real fast. We're going to have to start counting on Ethereum CME gaps, just the same way as we count on Bitcoin CME gaps now that they are ETF related. And the two of them, they both are publicly traded now. It's not just on the futures market. Now you can literally publicly trade Bitcoin and Ethereum, stocks and bonds and equities, just like everything else. So we have to start accounting for the same things we account for when we do that. That's going to change a couple things and not change a couple things. I haven't talked about this on YouTube for a reason. It just annoys people. All right, first of all, it's become evident to me over the last, so let's say 2020, I guess 2020, but really 2019, that no one really wants to hear what you have to say regarding charts. They don't really care. What they prefer to hear is what they want to hear, not what's actually happening. That positive fulfillment that they get from that is worth more dopamine wise than the chart telling them what's going to happen later and not right now. They want the instant gratification and the instant dopamine hit of being told that they're correct in whatever that is. And if they're not correct on that, they go looking for validation and other things that will find them a path to correctness. That doesn't necessarily mean that that is actually correct. It's objectively correct. You're not telling the actual truth. You're telling the truth that you want to hear, or you're telling the truth that was told to you, and then you're displaying it to others as it's the truth. This is why I don't care about the news. I don't care about events. I don't care about wallets. For the most part, not always, but for the most part, I don't care about any of that. It means nothing to me. I've learned that the people who hold the most aren't going to sell, so stop worrying about them. That's the whales. I've learned that when people hold a majority of more than the most, like 90+%, that's likely a scam and you shouldn't be involved anyway. I've learned that retail makes up 5 or less % of everyone, and their opinion is null and void most of the time. That means the 95%, which is institutional and bots, are kind of all I care about. And if that's the case, and I only care about institutions and bots, how can I differentiate the two? Well, turns out that institutions typically trade about 80% or more of their volume in bots, not people. Now, that doesn't mean that they're only doing people or only doing bots. What it means is that a majority of the time they're having the buttons pushed for them rather than them actually doing the button pushing. What this creates is a non-biased engagement. That non-biased engagement is the computer's doing it, I'm going to follow the computer, but in much larger scale. And since I can see what the computer is doing and I can tell that the computer is going to take it this direction, I'll wait or I'll act based on that. Now, are there earth-changing events, life-changing events, things that happen in the world that we can't control? Yes. Are there things that happen that are for the good? Yes. Are there things that happen for the bad? Yes. What I'll say is, since I can't control them, I don't worry about them. The recent ETF event was yet another reason for people to run and say, this is the news making the chart. Incorrect. We were already uptrending and already up multiple pips or percentage in points well before any news came out. Ethereum, I think it was $750 in 2022 or 2023, and we're up near 3,000 before any events happened. What was the difference in the charts from 800 to 3,000? How many positive and or negative news events did we talk about then? Well, we didn't really talk about any, and if we did, they didn't matter, right? It was all up and it was all bullish. Same thing coming from 4,000 all the way back down to 800. Nothing but positive engagement, and things are going to go good, and don't worry, nothing happened. If we just stopped trying to add in things that don't matter to what we do, we would save a tremendous amount of time. And you would start to focus more on the things that do matter, and you would be a much more happy person in general. You want to learn how to do this? This goes to the psychology, right? You want to learn how to do this and learn how to chart and not care? Well, start doing it instead of fucking talking about it. You actually have to do it. You actually have to commit to not caring what anyone else is doing. Here's what's happening on the chart. This is all that matters to me. And once that changes, well, then I'll change my tone. Now, If the right person says the right thing, might that matter? Sure. But you don't have any control over that. So you should just prepare for it instead of worrying about it. All right. If tomorrow, if tomorrow our president goes out and says, by the way, all crypto perfectly legal, it's not anything but property. You can do what you want to with it. Now you may have to pay a property tax on that in your state. Let them figure that out. But as far as the government goes, we don't care. None of our business. People would inflate that to saying, oh, well, the chart moved or the news moved the chart. However, we can look at the charts and see that almost every single chart in existence is bullish. You should have already bought before that ever happened. Those kind of things only happen when a certain trend is happening, aka up. All right. So you should have already been in. You should have already knew what to do. Should have already been the ball before then. Typically, the computers and the controllers of the computers are far ahead of what retail is doing. So when you see people chasing the news and chasing the retail, they tend to lose. Since the ETF news has come out, we are roughly the exact same price as what Ethereum was before any news came out. So I ask you, what does it matter? Why do we conflue things that don't need to be getting confluence? Why do we do that? And again, that goes right back into the psychology of you thinking that it matters and wasting time. Lately, the last 3 weeks, my message volume down. I messed that up. My message volume is down on Discord. I can see that for myself. I did that on purpose. I knew that she was getting out of school. The kids were getting out of school. And I realized I spent entirely too much time in here staring at these charts, right? So over the last 2 weeks or so, I've tried to trust my judgment on the charts rather than overthink it. I've tried to trust my judgment more and hang out with the family just a little bit more, right? What I've noticed over the last 2.5 weeks is I've been much happier in general just hanging out. What I've noticed about the last year and a half is that I've been much more happy in general about really 2 years, much more happy in general about how things have worked out because I have trusted the system that works rather than worrying about things that haven't. And this has trickled down into my real life, me being more happy and more careful and more generous and in general nicer. I could tell myself becoming more of an asshole when I got more stressed out, more worried, and more upset. Again, adding fuel to the fire of things that don't matter. I wrote all this down. That's the reason I'm talking about this, because I had like a little bit of an epiphany, right? It was between the ETF news and all this that again, I started getting flooded with DMs of finger pointing and fuck you, Keith. And I told you this was going to happen. And haha, I was right. You were wrong. And for fuck's sake, dude, where were you at $700? Nowhere. So shut the fuck up, right? That isn't what happens though. People don't shut the fuck up. They keep going and they keep poking and pulling and jerking and acting like they have all the answers to the universe if they get one thing right. Of course, that's all that matters is they got that dopamine hit for being right. Again, right back to that psychology of caring about something in front of you rather than seeing the big picture. This goes right down to yesterday. Dave 28, and I wrote all this down, was asking about how to do fibs, and he started on the 10-minute chart. Now I'm going to go into charts. See how that works, everyone? Asking about how to do fibs on a 10-minute chart. My answer was to stop. Don't do that and back up and go all the way to monthly or the weekly. Why? Because you're missing the bigger picture. Those little tiny moves are going to get very hard to track because you're missing the bigger picture of almost everything is up. And since almost everything is up, your general ideas should all be pointing up, not worrying so much about the down. And that little down that we're getting, wait for that breakout before you go, because now you know, generally speaking, we're going up, and it's a smarter move to look for the ups than it is to look for the downs. And now drawing fibs becomes much, much, much easier, and you start to understand the sentiment of what you're drawing. Oh, that 10-minute chart is kind of null and void here, and I'm drawing this, and it might work down to the 1 second, but I'm pulling teeth here. Maybe this is the best idea. Maybe I should back up to like an hour and look at the hour chart and go, oh, okay, now I see the hour chart is showing me something different. It's showing me, hey, maybe I should think about this. Maybe I should think about this in the terms of, this is such a small down, I'll just wait. That allows you to relax your brain. It allows you to have a little bit of serotonin and chill. It allows you to see things a little bit more clearly. Now your psychology has helped. Now you're chill. Now you're cool. And now you make a better decision instead of an emotional decision. All right. That's what brings us to the charts today. I'm going to start off with what y'all talked about and asked for. The first one, believe it or not, was Pepe. And it's a really good point because Pepe just crossed a higher market cap than Matic. How's it, guys? How does it make you feel, guys? How does that make you feel? I kind of care and I kind of don't care because I don't want to be involved in degenerate stuff. I guess the question becomes how much money is degenerate, right? And when you're over a certain number of billions, isn't that not degenerate anymore? I don't really know, dude. I don't think there's an actual answer for that question. I think it's more subjective than objective. But what I do see is a breakout, and now she's broken out, ran hard, and how far is it going to go is the question. Well, we're way above all-time high. We've already hit some fib extensions as well. They'll grab the top here and pull down to the bottom here. And you see that we kind of already smacked the 1272, the 1414. We've shot above the 1618 on Pepe. We have no signs of seeing anything that says sell and run away aside from one candle at the very top here. I hate to be an asshole about this. There's nothing saying sell. And I hate to be the guy who says don't take profits because I always say take profits. But if you're going to do it, be smart about it. It looks like this thing may go past the 1.618 all the way to the 2 fib. And beyond that, the 2.272 fib, which sounds nuts. And I understand that it sounds nuts because I'm here with you. I promise you that me talking about a frog meme gaining another 300% market cap sounds insane, but it's true. Does that mean it'll maintain its spot atop the list? If everything else gains billions, it's going to gain billions, but everything else may gain it at a faster pace. We may see an increase of other things rather than the first thing, right? So one step at a time, but it is over the 1618 until it fails the 1618, which will subsequently be the 8 EMA at the same time. Then I might look to run away a little bit. But so far right now, I mean, this thing looks like a pro. It looks like a champ, dude. How about VRA? I was talking about this one recently. Yeah. So here's VRA. Now, one could argue that it fell into the trend line, and I would hear that argument, and I would probably second it. It looks a little rough here short term. If I back out and don't look at this trend line, and I kind of draw it a little differently, which is I kind of left out these wicks back here, thinking maybe they didn't matter. And if I line some of the wicks up, it starts to line up even better. So I'm not exactly sure. It's close, I'll say that. And being that the entire market is more bullish than bearish, I'm entitled to think that this thing's probably going to go up more. On that note, all right, if I draw the fibs the way I have the fibs drawn, it looks to be breaking back over the trend line. Also, it looks to be coming off of the 236 on the weekly, on the bigger time frame, the higher pictures, right? It looks like we're coming off the 236, heading to the 382. That has already been there before, so it's a long retrace. It's 70% just back to 50% retrace, right? So it's 140% more to get back to where it was. That's what I say. You can't just hodl forever. It's 140% just to get back to where it was before. Not 100%, but 140% just to get back where it was, right? So I kind of hate hodling sometimes because of that. And I tell people that, hey, and that hodling didn't make you anything. Now, I've already swung this one back and forth a few times. So that's why I kind of put it to the side and said, I'll worry about it later. I've already made some money on it and then flipped that money around. But I do like that it's over the 236. It may take some time. It's got a lot of shit in the way. 0.00629, 0.0063. It's going to play hardball there. If it gets back over that, she's cleared around back to this 50 fib up here at 0.013, which is where the 200 moving average was, which it'll eventually get there, just not yet. I like on the daily, that she's breaking back over the 50 or trying to. It hasn't yet. It's close. Over the 821 EMA. That's the first thing I want to see. Second thing is over the 50. After it's over the 50, how far can we go? Not how far down, but how far up. Same thing in the other direction, right? How far down can we go till that changes? I'm in VRA, obviously. So I want to see this go up. But it is just now fighting the 50. Finish out by getting over the 50. And I'm tickled pink. Andy. All right. I've never heard of this one before. But let's have a look. All right. So first thing right off the bat that hits me it was an uptrend, but now it's back under the 50 MA and the 821 EMA. I liked that it was a downtrend and it broke. I'm happy about that. Short term, I'm not too tickled about it. I need to see this get back over here, up into this range, and not under these lines like it is. Once I see that change and I see that improvement, that would make things much more happy for me. Till then, I'm a little bit sketched out by it. I'd like to see it do a little better. So I would hold off on that one if it was me, my money, my dollars. So I had Ethereum pulled up, and I talked about minding the CME gaps and treating it like a stock. What are those CME gaps? Well, we have one from 24th, which was last week. From Friday to Monday, had a big jump. From Sunday, had a big jump in the chart, and little by little, you've started to see that the price is coming back toward where this gap happened, right there. You can kind of see that gap in the chart. That's because the chart wasn't even on and running when the prices was moving. You don't have advantages to get to that until now, right? Now you're able to do that because Bitcoin and Ethereum are both nonstop 24/7. So we have the advantage of pre-market and post-market, just like everyone else, kind of leveled the playing field a little bit for us. This is what we don't have advantages of as far as Tesla, Robinhood, GME, or anything else. We can make the trade post-market, but they might not put it in until they want us to put it in. That's how it works. Well, here, we could just go to KuCoin or Coinbase or Binance or wherever and buy and sell all we please. That changed the game for us in a positive way. Nonetheless, we're still heading back toward this CME gap. Goes down to about 37.50, 37.60, roughly. Once it gets to that, then we'll reconsider what's happening and see if it can get back over or if it's going to matriculate sideways. It's my belief that we're probably going to go sideways for the rest of the month, going into the first couple of days of June. Yesterday was fun. Then we got an immediately reversible response to it from yesterday, right? You had a big day yesterday. It was fun. And then everything pulled right back to where it was. Again, we're sideways. This is the way it's going to happen. I can't do anything about it. I have to deal with it. I think the summer's going to be good, though. So, again, this is short-term, scary, long-term, ass-kicking and taking names. Because that summer move that we're going to get, which we almost always get, no matter what the market is, almost always we get a summer move. In a bull market, it's way better. So after that summer move, we get a little bit of a reset over the fall in election season. Once the elections are over, right back up we go again, right? It's going to happen that way. Nothing I can do about it. So I'm preparing for it rather than arguing about it. All right. So short term down, long term, bro, she's going right back up. This ain't playing no games. This is all a big uptrend. This thing ain't going to stop. This isn't going to stop. It's never going back down to 3,000 again. Ever. Never. Never again. It's done. Done. And I say 3,000. I don't mean for 5 seconds. I mean for a week or a month. That ain't happening. It may go down there and touch it one time. It ain't going to stay down there. And you all know that. All right. Even after this bull market's over and we go to do some pre-detectiving here. This is a long shot. I probably shouldn't do it, but we'll do it anyway. Starting at 1,000. All right. And going all the way up to 13,000. From 1,000 to 13,000, there's 12,000 points. In between that is 6,000. So 6,000 would be halfway, or the 50 fib. Past that would be 5,000. That would be down to the 618. That's just the mathematics of it. That's still $5,000, not $3,000. Right? I don't even think after the bull market's over and we retrace, do we come back down to $3,000. I don't think it ever gets lower than 5,000 once we break all-time high and we get to our fib extensions. Now, that's going to take some time. I don't care how you feel about Ethereum. I don't care how you feel about Vitalik. I don't care. No one else cares for the matter either. No one cares what you think or I think. We only care about how much money we can make. I don't care about anything else. Oh, well, Gensler and fucking I don't care. No one else cares either. No one cares how you feel. Your feelings are unimportant to me and everyone else. And my feelings are unimportant to you and everyone else. So let's just leave them out of it, right? That's the easiest way to think of it. There's my long-term Ethereum. And we might even go farther than 13,000 for what it's worth. I don't really know that for sure. That's just a 1618 fib. So it could be more. By the way, please call me out if you hear me going too much. All right. It's a tick that I have. Cab driver pointed it out for me, and I've been working on not doing that anymore. I think it's a coping mechanism when I'm talking to make myself focus. I don't need to do that. So I'm trying to stop doing it. Ray said people, and Dave said algo. I hope you were on earlier, Dave. I was talking about you. In a good way, not a bad way. I appreciate when people ask questions, right? Because then we can ask more questions, get more answers, and be smarter together. Hiding in the back and never talking, bro, you never get anywhere, dude. You're expecting someone to do it for you. Expecting someone to do it for you will never get you ahead. It'll only always keep you equal or below that person. So try to be better. Right? Don't ask for someone to do it for you. Fucking learn how to do it yourself, and you won't lose it that way either. You'll know how much more it was worth by working for it rather than have someone fucking giving it to you. If you wonder why welfare never stops, there's your fucking answer. I never have incentive to do better. One Harmony over the 236 fib weekly. That's awesome. Daily over the, oh, look at there. That's a good one. I think, yeah, over the 50, 821, 200, just stuck under the 100. So it might float around a little bit. I'd like to see it get through all of them. It might float around a little bit sideways here into June and July. But I do think it's going to come turn the corner. One Harmony's way down, dude. And because of that, that sucks. I do like the fact that it's over every weekly moving average except the 200, which is way up there. So I bet you by the end of the year, One Harmony gets up here around the 50 fib, 0.05, right? Around the 50 fib, which is also 0.05. That's pretty cool. The price and the fib line are basically the same. I bet you it gets up there by the time this is all done this end of the year. I don't know past that. And I don't want to guess past that. So I could try to guess, but it really just depends on where a lot of these things end up at the end of the year. If they end up higher, great, because that gives us more overhead. If we end up at the 50 fib or lower, I'm inclined to believe we're going to retrace from there. We'll see. Okay. That's why I've marked that area as so important for me. I got to go a little faster. I'm sorry. I'm talking too much. All right. VET. So similar story. I'll try to get to all these. I'm sorry, y'all. Similar story on VET as some of the others. It looks like short term, it fell under the trend line, which is a little worrisome. However, the reason I didn't bail on this one is because it's been bouncing off the 200 the whole time and kind of holding strong. It's under this fib line you see right here. You can tell this fib line is playing hardball. I think that's a 382. Yeah, it is 382 fib. Playing hardball, not giving up. We'll see if it can hold it through June and July. I haven't lost faith in VET. I think it'll do great. It's got a heavy sponsorship if you really care about all that bullshit. I don't. I only care about the chart. It is behind in some cases, but it's ahead of some others. So I think there's good money there. And because of that, I have a little bit more faith in it. So that's why I left it alone a little bit more. Quant, on the other hand. Oh my God, the hella annoying Quant. Every single time it looks like it wants to get up off its ass and do something, it goes the other way. It's going to take one or two candles getting over these moving averages to reset everything here. But now she's back under all the weekly MAs and all the daily MAs. And I'm just about to the point of walking away from Quant. Super frustrating. It needs to get off its ass and go here. And if it doesn't, I'm going to have to bail. I'm very irritated, but I could use this money somewhere else. I could just buy other stuff with this money and it would do something else. And that's another realization I'm fighting myself on. See, folks, I am not perfect. So for now, it's a no for Quant. And I know it might be at support, but it's the fact that it's going as slow as it is and not doing anything tells me my money could probably be better used elsewhere. And what else would I buy? Well, that's up to me to figure out beforehand. Yeah. ADA, under the 50, under the 21, under the 8, not cool. We got a 100, 200 tits cross coming. That's not cool. What is cool is that we're sitting on top of the weekly moving averages, so the downside is limited. And the upside is much higher, in my opinion. So once it does reverse out of this ugliness that it's in right now, which may take a little bit of time, weekly, 0.041 makes sense. 0.04 flat. That's the 236 fib. As long as it's above that, I see more upside than downside. So then that leads me back to 60 cents, which is the 382 fib, and the 200 moving average, which is just kind of cruising along up here at about 72 cents. That seems like a decent marker. There's a 50 fib at 83. Any one of those three prices for the end of the year-ish. We'll see. I might have to change my mind on a lot of this stuff when the end of the year comes, huh? I think you guys can kind of see that, right? Some of these may not do as well as I think they're going to do. And if that's the case, I'm going to have to sing a different tune at the end of the year. I'm going to have to change my opinion and do some different stuff. Already kind of calling myself on that too. I don't like being wrong, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be right either. You know what I mean? Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it ain't going to happen. AR, which is Arweave, been killing it, honestly, hasn't it? Weekly 8 EMA, not bad. It's under the 821 EMA, barely over the 50, under the 100. I don't like that. It's a little bit stuck in the mud here. It needs to get out of the mud. Kind of looks like Velo, huh? Where it's threatening to go down, but it's so far up that you don't want to let it go. Same situation, yeah. Under the 382, over the 382, that's got to improve first. Until I see some improvement there, not much I can do. Somebody's ringing my doorbell. I hope you guys can hear that. Coming in and out of the house. Hold on a second. Hang on. Neighborhood kids. Shoo. All right. Sorry. Neighborhood kids wanting to go to the pool. Come hang at the cool people's house, right? So yeah, 5,100 down here kind of makes me think that's where it's heading. It looks like $36 flat, $35 flat. That's a 382 fib as well. Decent target. And we'll see how far back it peels past that, but one step at a time. SYS. I'm going to go faster now. Sorry. Syscoin, because if you're into that type of thing, whatever you identify is free for you to identify as. I don't care. None of my business. Over the 200, but under the 50 and the 100, a lot like VET. But since it's on the 200, I give it a little bit more strength than weakness. So more upside than downside. Even if it goes down below this 200, I don't think it'll be too far. So more upside than downside. I hate to run away from those kind. At this point, I'm more into DCA mode than runaway mode. Right? If I have extra money, I want to buy, not run away and hide. So short term, maybe down, but longer term, this is going to rebound. And when it does, it's going to get back up here to that 27 cent range at least. Then we'll see past that. API 3. Look at there. This one's trying to crack out of that funk. It was under the 200. This is what I mean by not far away from the 200. To see how it kind of flirted with failure but didn't, because there was a higher time frame move happening, and this was too low to look. Right. So if we go to the weekly, it looks scary on the daily because that was a very zoomed in look. But if I zoom out, she just went to the 50 weekly moving average and said, yeet. Again, this is why I preach going to the high time frame and not the low time frame, because you're missing the bigger moves, worrying, sad, freaking out, scared, beta braining it, not alpha braining it, when you could be giving yourself a little bit of serotonin and relaxing. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine. Short term, maybe bad, but long term, much better. Same thing's the case for API 3 here. This is going to get back over this 100. Maybe not right now. Looks like it's going to fail right now. Throwing a lot of sell pressure wicks underneath it. I bet short term will get some reversal back down to the 8 EMA or the 21. But I bet you it does break out of this 100 moving average funk here and gets moving back up here toward $3.70 up here at resistance. If it breaks that, that'd be awesome, because then she can sprint. And how far can she sprint? We put a fib on it. And about $6 to $9 from 3. Well, that's 200%. That's pretty damn good. Let me put a check mark beside that one. All right, Arkham, ARKM, USD. Bam. All right, so over the 50. See me on live streams. I can't talk right now. Over the 50, failing the 100. A little bit pinned in the mesh right now. It's got to get over. So it may take a little bit of time. It's kind of going sideways at the moment, but as long as it's over the 50, and again, short term may be down, but long term, we're going to get a big shot in the arm here eventually. So needs a little bit of time. It is under the trend. It kind of looks more down than up to me right now. Is it worth it to run away? 27%. Maybe if you wanted to take some profits, but I hate to go doing that. It's got some support here, so be careful. And this is a tough call. If I look at the cloud, it's got the cloud. I mean, I wouldn't run away just yet if it was me, if it was my money. It's close. I'm going to give it a neutral sign. DFYN. I think I put this into the forget about. I might have sold it all. I don't remember. I may have. I don't know. So under the 50, under the 100, under the 200, trying to cross over, but it's still stuck. In the moment, it's in the mud. And look how far down this thing is. It's a drastic underperformer. If I'm still in this one, I'll sell it because I don't think there's much juice in the tank here. If you're not over the 236 fib by now, you're way, way, way behind, and it's probably best to be on something else. Not in general, but in this case, right? And that's the same case for me with CRV and Casper. I'm looking to get out of those. Why? Well, they've drastically underperformed, and I really don't want to hitch my wagon to a drastic underperformer for the foreseeable future. Nah, seems like a bad idea. I'd rather move along. Cody over the 5100, over the 821 EMA on the weekly, heading for the 200 like I want to see those other ones do. That's a pretty good example, yeah. Pretty good example. Now daily, a little bit stuck in the mud, and it might fluctuate sideways a little bit here until the summer months. It's going to go. When it goes, we can see that we're likely to hit the 50 fib at 17 cents. That's the first target, where the 200 moving average will be. Golden Pocket passed that at 24 cents. Sniper's Alley is at 41. We've already hit 24 once. So a reversal from here may send us much farther by the end of the year. How about all the way up to the 786 by the end of the year? Or just the Golden Pocket would be nice. 30 to 40 cent by the end of the year would be a solid target based on all that I just said, because it's kind of in between. Splitting the difference somewhere around in there. Seems like an excellent target for Cody. I think it's going to do well. I just need some more time. I like a lot of them. People. You know what I just did? I just wrote down an X instead of a circle, meaning I meant to look good at it, not look bad at it. And I accidentally wrote an X. So I caught myself. Constitution Dow. Because it says Dow, I usually run away from this, but look at this thing run. It's printing like fucking Jerome Powell, dude. Look at that. Right off the 200, 50, 100, 821. Off and gone, dude. And then coming back. Look. Look. She gone, bro. It's heading to the 1618. It's already up near the 1272. Any more green behind this, and it's going even farther. This is, again, when I say that I don't care about people and what they think. This is exactly what the chart says to me. It doesn't care what I think. It doesn't care whether I like Dows or not. It doesn't give a fuck what I think. It's gone no matter what. Okay? Now, I can choose to or to not get in this. I'm not gonna. But, bro, she ain't playing. Look. It's obvious that the system doesn't care what I think. It's going to go without me. And I'm okay with that because I've made my bed. I'm going to lay in it. You got to be okay with that as well. You have to learn to be okay with that. I missed this one. It's already too far gone for me, so I'm going to let her ride. Plus, I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway. Algorand. Now, Dave asked about this one, and he asked a specific question. We've got like one or two more, and then I'll be done. How, where to draw a long-term weekly chart fib, short-term fib, local fib back to March. I mean, recently broke trend line. All right, so same situation as I told you exactly with the other stuff. You need to zoom way out because the first thing you asked me was 4 to 8 hour chart, and I don't give a fuck about the 4 to 8 hour chart. I want to start at the monthly or the weekly, and then I'll eventually trickle all the way down at the very, 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 very end to that. I don't ever, ever, ever want to focus on the low time frame. I always want to focus on the high time frame because that gives me a much broader, even perspective to look at. All the way back to the last bull market. Ended in November. We can argue about what the price of Algorand was. We'll look around a couple exchanges real quick. Then we'll find a good exchange with good data that doesn't look too wicky and odd as compared to all the other ones, right? So here's Binance. Looks like all of them had this wick at the top right here, where there's some shorter, some longer. So let's go back to Coinbase since I have a nice clean chart. Looks like this wick may be accurate, so I'll use it for the example. We'll grab that wick. If I'm not mistaken, I was in Algorand during that wick. I have to go back and look in Telegram. So far, what have we gotten? This was a big, massive fucking downtrend. And since it was a big, massive downtrend, I need to be pulling my fibs from the top down. That being said, pulling from the top down, she broke out back here in October when everything else broke out. Now I have an uptrend. And since I have an uptrend, I'm riding this uptrend until the uptrend line does what? Fails. When the uptrend line fails, it fails right here. That tells me that this fib is now null and void and can be erased. It's over. It's done. Now I need a new one that goes in the other direction because my trend has changed, right? Cool. So we'll grab a different one from the top. I'm sorry, from the bottom to the top. So now this is an uptrend, so we're pulling up. We're starting at the bottom and pulling up. She fell down to the 50 fib. It looks like it gave a smooch to the 618 right there, where it says add text, because it's wanting me to put text on there, which is kind of neat. I should write golden pocket. That's a good idea. I'm going to write golden pocket on the fibs and Sniper's Alley. I think that would help. 618, about 15 cent, gave it a smooch and immediately popped back up. Has it reversed yet? Well, we'll have to go down to the daily to see that, because right now, technically, we're still in a downtrend here. We haven't changed from that yet, right? So we need to wait and see here. We need to go down one time frame now, because we've run out of time to look at this. Now we can look at the daily. All right, here's the daily. There's the top. We can pull it down and, oh, maybe if this wick is accurate. If it's not, I'm not sure. Everything else lines up except this wick, so I'm using everything else. All right. It looks like we broke out here. So now that we broke out, we can pull another fib. We had a short-term downtrend. There it is. There it is. There it is. And from the top to the bottom, we pulled down. It was a downtrend. It looks like it's broken, but it's not gone far yet. And in fact, this fib ends in June of 13. So we'll see how far it can get by June 13th. All right. At Juneteenth, if it hasn't broken the levels that we want, probably it's going to reverse back down again. Or maybe it jumps back over this trend line and starts going back. We don't know that far yet. So I don't even need to look at 4 hour yet, because this daily fib is still accurate. I don't need to go any lower than that to see that likely we're not going much farther up or down. We're likely going sideways here. And even the up is limited. Even the down is limited. So there's not much to think about or worry about. I could go down to 4 hour, but I'm just losing myself in the mud, overthinking, and I'm probably going to break my brain. If I wanted to go down that far, I would assume that the top is here, and I would grab and say, uh-oh, the uptrend is over, and now we're going to start a downtrend. I can't really do that yet, but this is assuming. So now that the uptrend is over, I'm going to pull up. It was an uptrend, and now it's failing. So now I'm thinking it's going to go down. How far down? Well, I haven't really failed yet, but I'm guessing here. I'll say the 50 fib at 0.17. I'll say the Sniper's Alley at 0.15. Those would be my next hella short-term targets. But those aren't even really accurate yet, because technically I'm still in an uptrend. It hasn't failed yet. Once this uptrend fails, then my opinion changes and I can draw a new fib, right? Haven't gotten there yet. So there's the exact same case. There's the exact same case for Algorand that I did for Bitcoin. They all work the exact same. Now, the one thing I left out on these fibs, we know that there's a extremely cyclical cycle to crypto. So we can go ahead and pull most of our fibs from the last bull market to the end of the next bull market. And we know that will be a set amount of time, and they'll all pivot around Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the king, whether me and you like it or not. That'll roughly end us off at the end of 2025. Could that be summer 2025? Could that be fall 2025? Sure. I'll know more when we get there, but I can guesstimate into the year 2025. That's the case. Well, I can pull these big, humongous fibs and see that we're just flirting around with the 236 line right now. In fact, not only are we flirting around with the 236 line, we're making an inverse head and shoulders here that could just nuke us on the way up, not down, and make things much, much better. There's a shoulder, there's a head, and there's a shoulder. All right. Zoop, there's a neckline. Give it a chance to test, and she breaks out and gets going. That hasn't happened yet. And until that happens, I'm not buying it. Not buying the chart doing that. I'm already in the asset, but I'm not buying that theory until I see it. So far, she's just tapping the 236 on the weekly and hasn't done anything to prove it otherwise for me yet. Break this big trend line, and then we'll talk. You could argue that this fib needs to be pulled back just a little bit to grab that wick, and this says September 2025 instead of December. Still the end of 2025. All right, so break this dotted trend line, and then we'll talk about how much farther it can go. Till then, it's no need for me to get in there too much. I'm already way over time. Real fast on SEI. That was a really long explanation. I'm sorry. Psi, however you want to say Psi, looks like it wanted to break out, but it's kind of getting stuck under the 200. I want to see it flip all these moving averages before I fall for it. And TNSR. Almost spelled that wrong. Tensor. That's a cool name. Tensor. TNSR USD. There's something to be said about me saying, oh, that's a cool name also. That could be construed as that I'm falling for it based on the fact of the name, which is psychologically probably correct. I'm looking for a good clean chart here. TNSR. Let's see. I want to find the one with the least amount of wicks and crazy. You know what I'm saying? Big get. They're all about the same. Okay. So we'll grab back here, pull down. It does look like short term we broke, but we hit the 50 fib. And since we short term broke and hit the 50 fib, it's just rejected and kind of ranging in between 382 and the 50. I like to see it do a little bit more. I don't have much data here, so I'm going to have to drop down lower because I don't have a choice. There's not enough data on the daily to look too much farther. I have to go down some kind of time frame. So I went down to the 4 hour here, and now I'm over the 8, 21, 50, 100, 200. 4 hour looks fine. Daily, not so great. So what we may see is that a bigger move sideways may be happening while the 4 hour looks bullish and continues to fool us little bit by little bit, up and down, back and forth, kind of annoying us and not doing anything important. We'll see. I like this one probably. Long term, it's going to do great. These with the short chart like this, they tend to do pretty good. I'd be curious to know the market cap on it. If the market cap's low enough, this will probably make multiples. I don't really know. It might be a scam. I don't know. I didn't look into it at all. But just looking at the chart, probably got some meat on the bone, and it'll probably keep going. They'll probably keep going after this. So, all right, 2:42. I'm already way over time. It's supposed to be 30 minutes, but I got in on my bullshit before I started. So thank y'all for listening. And I'm sorry I went down a rabbit hole. It was just a little bit of an enlightening moment that I had in the last couple of weeks. So y'all be good. I got the whole thing recorded. I'll post it up on YouTube for you, and I have it in the weekly roundup vids with everything else, so you guys can go see it. And in the live stream section too. No, not weekly. It'd be in the live stream section because this was live. Thank you guys. I appreciate and ladies. I appreciate every single person coming watching. Y'all are badass. I'm getting off of here and taking the kids to the pool. See y'all soon. I'll be at the pool checking my phone periodically too. Y'all take it easy.